Today's meme of the day is...
So this is basically us versus the lads.
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay, we win. The end. I'll quickly break it down into statistics. Out of the three of us, I'm the most overpowered one here.
I thought Todd McFarlane had a bigger ego. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this hell of an episode of Lads Discuss Death Battle. Joined with us is the Helsing your early mate.
You know what, I'm trying to think of a hell pun, but I can't really think of one.
Well, burning his way into the other slot is Shawnee.
Welcome to hell. And now we're age restricted because I can't finish that line.
But there is another Sean among us, and his name is RKO.
My dread is finally over! Many of you may just know him as the voice of Gillian Fargrove on Bill's channel.
What's up, RKO? I've seen your reaction. You didn't have any dreads on. You lie! You're a fraud!
Not that kind of dread, Bill. Not that kind of dread.
The judge?
Oh, Judge Dredd, right. I was just thinking, like, what?
Now RKO is Sylvester Stallone in my head. Thank you.
I was thinking Carl Urban, but hey, you know what? Sylvester Stallone's good too. But yes, we're here to talk about the latest episode with our guest, RKO. He won't be joining us for the second or third topic, but hey, I'm sure he has a lot to say about this episode. I think we all do.
Oh boy.
And now, looking into the comments of our last video, this one from Starshock with our Kratos vs. Azura review. As divisive as the fight itself is, I don't think anybody except the really annoying side of the Power Game community would deny how good the analysis was. Not every joke was a winner in my book. They didn't really need to do the boy bit 3 times. Personally, I disagree with that. But it did a fantastic job covering their characterization and stories, and gives me hope for covering other characters in the future. Yeah, because that's something I've noticed in the conversation when it comes to, like, Death Battle, is that they've not had a good track record with dealing with rage characters, or at least, like, you know, characters with like rage is like their gimmick. Yang, Knuckles is kind of considered up there, but I'd say Knuckles is more of an airhead than a rage character. Hulk,
Oh no, dead.
Yeah, Hulk is a character I think they've done really well. Maybe not in terms of like the personality-wise in the Doom versus Hulk fight, because that was mostly just smash sort of personality, whereas Broly versus Hulk was more so Hulk maintaining some level of, you know, intelligence. Like, Hulk's an inconsistent character to write for. Like, in comic books, he's either a misunderstood monster, he's just a brain-dead monster, or he's a freaking demon that was somehow connected to Bruce Banner. Seriously, that whole story about Hulk not being a separate person and instead being a demon from another world is probably one of Marvel's stupidest retcons for Hulk.
And then there's like a whole bunch of different Hulks.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It's not surprising they you know, cancelled that story very quickly and just went back to Hulk being another personality in Bruce Banner. But yeah, I do kind of agree with
comic book status quo.
Yeah, when a reboot character's not doing well, reboot them back to how they originally were. Good to know.
Or you can just shelve them like they did with New 52 Lobo.
Yeah, so I do agree with Starshock. You know, I do think, you know, Death Battle are getting good at capturing the rage characters at, like, their better personality. And not just, I'm the god of war, fear me. But they did manage to sneak a little bit of that side in.
Yeah.
From Turok in our prediction for Spawn versus Ghost Rider. Damn, I knew Sean was a bit sick, but I didn't know he transformed into an alien AI overlord. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Sean's end. So he sounded sick, but I don't know.
It was also on my phone. I don't know if Bill mentioned that at all, but I was on my phone for a good amount of that discussion.
Yeah. To be fair,
that's probably a good reason why.
To be fair,
meanwhile, I sounded super quiet.
Yeah, to be fair, and to be honest, mate, you always sound quiet. We've never been able to get that balanced. I've tried it. It just doesn't work.
There's
yeah.
something I can do on my end.
Maybe we'll have to sort that out another day. But yeah.
No, my
yeah.
settings are maxed.
Yeah. Okay. Save behind the scenes stories for behind the scenes.
I was sick all 3 sessions, but I'm like, we'll still do it. I'll be fine.
Yeah, it did make editing a bit of a pain in the ass. I tried to like adjust the volume so he could, you know, people could hear him, but you know, him being on his phone because his microphone was being a bitch to him. I guess it's transferred over to me now because my microphone's being a bitch.
Yeah, again, my that's a behind the scenes story for behind the scenes story.
From Awesome Ethan, that's a commenter I've not heard in a long while. I remember we actually did the Among Us videos with him.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
From Awesome Ethan, I said it before and I'll say it again here. With how similar the 2 tracks are, this is regarding when we were talking about commission tracks versus the official. With how similar the 2 tracks are, Game Over is basically hard-boiled, heavy of it, locked the F in. I did kind of struggle to read the last bit of that sentence, but I kind of got what he was saying. Yeah, I do agree. But I think Game Over, the Hardboiled Fury more so had like a boss theme music to it, whereas Game Over was just like a villain song, you know, like an anime villain song. Like, that's the best way I'll describe it.
And humanity with that song.
And it's also currently my default ringtone.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, it is a really good one. I like it. Not Michael. Well, I mean, it is his comment. I was meant to say final first. Final comment from Michael Holland. The official ones are better, though the commercial ones for Star Butterfly vs. Steven Universe, that is better than the one we got. I've not actually ever listened to the Star Butterfly vs. Steven one, but I might have to give that a look after this video because, yeah, I never actually, I've actually not listened to that one. I didn't even know that had a fan commission. I probably should expect it. I feel as though, even if a Death Battle episode, whether this one came out before or after, even if there's a Death Battle that's already happened, someone will commission another track for it. So I think Yang vs. Tifa got a commissioned track, even though that episode
it did.
ages ago.
Dante and Bayonetta did as well.
Yeah.
Like, Brandon makes an exception for ones before season 4 and 5 when he gets commission requests.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you all for your comments. If you want to see your comments brought up in future videos, then be sure to leave them down below. Now then, we should probably get into this burning episode, which has had one of us dreading it for a long time.
The episode so edgy that YouTube age restricted it.
Womp womp womp.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that because I do have issues with YouTube regarding that. So, but let's actually talk about the episode.
And I have a joke for it.
Yeah, but we'll get to that shortly. So, this episode was a fantastic follow-up from the last one. Like, I was very curious because I was about to say Ghost of Sparta, but mixed with Ghost Rider. God, Kratos with the Ghost Rider powers. That is scary.
Oh gosh!
But Kratos versus Zora, I was like, I wouldn't say they peaked with that episode, but it's definitely like, it was a hard one to follow because this is a matchup Devil Artemis wanted for so long. He's apparently spoken to Death Battle a lot behind the scenes about it, so when he was finally given like, you know, the go ahead, like, hey, you're gonna animate it when it reaches that milestone, you could tell within the animation itself he was excited.
The man just went ham with that one.
Yeah, he did.
So, and now the next time Ghost Rider vs. Spawn, though, there was a lot of hype behind it. This was one of the few matchups that we actually got surprised by. Well, maybe not me, because I got spoiled in my own server. Thank you very much, Purple Demon.
I technically got spoiled as well. I was just browsing the Death Battle Reddit, saw it, and was like, oh, neat.
I only saw what it was because of they announced they were going to announce something at MagFest. So I'm like, oh, I wonder what they'll announce.
Yeah, I let my reaction do most of the work after Kratos Asura. If you saw it, you understand my nightmare fuel that was the month to come.
Yeah. Now, one of the things people were immediately talking about, though, was Spawn getting a bit of a better representation, because compared to Ghost Rider, I think Ghost Rider in his last episode, while Ghost Rider vs. Lobo is still, like, fantastic episode.
One of my favorites for season 6.
And my most wanted episode.
Yeah, and that's still my most favourite from that season as well. So I was like, Ghost Rider though was done really well. I didn't feel as though they got anything wrong. I thought his powers were described. Like, the only thing I kind of disagreed with that episode, and this is a nitpick, the episode's still a 10 out of 10. I don't agree with how Lobo died, but that's literally the only complaint. Like, there's been episodes I thought were really good, but I just didn't agree with the result. Omni-Man vs. Bardock is one of them. So, really, the episode was peak already, I just didn't agree with the reason behind it. But Spawn, on the other hand, his episode was around during season 1, where it wasn't really, high quality. Yeah, it was not a polished episode. Like, they didn't do him dirty. Like, they really established his character and how badass he is. But when you think about feats, they didn't really name any feats. At least not ones that are noteworthy.
Yeah, a lot of constrained time looking at Spawn, I imagine.
Yeah. And the thing that's
yeah, I mean...
Yeah, the thing that was crazy as well, a lot of the feats they bring up this episode were around back then, so it's like, they could have probably made a better case for the Spawn back then.
Yeah, but keep in mind, it was just Ben on his own, and he had to do not only that, look into Kratos, write the episode, edit it, animate it, all within the span of 2 weeks.
Yeah, look, I'm not trying to say they were lazy or they're incompetent. I understand it. Like, I'm not trying to.
I'm just saying that's something to keep in mind for like early season 1.
I always keep that in mind, but just because I keep it in mind doesn't mean I'm not still going to criticize it. That's kind of like saying, the person who was in charge of protecting the president after they got shot is like, well, I was also trying to not get shot. It's like, you still did bad at your job, mate. Unless it was Donald Trump, then you would have done good.
I was thinking it, but I wasn't sure if I should say it.
We're British. We can make fun of the Americans that suffer no consequences.
I decided to take a look at who actually researched Spawn. Shocker! It's the guy who always gets a horror character. It was Kirby Kid.
It's still the most ironic thing about Kirby Kid. Like, always getting the dark characters. But yeah, so onto the analysis itself. I was actually quite surprised at that they were pretty fast explaining Ghost Rider, but it never felt rushed, because there's been times where characters are just rushed through, like they had to get it out as quick as they can. Like, what was an episode I could think of that kind of had that issue? I think that was probably Joker from Joker's episode, but...
Giorno?
Yeah, Joker vs. Giorno. I was going to say, there's been 2 Jokers on Death Battle. But...
Yeah, I was going to say, which one we refer to? DC Joker, or are we talking about Persona Joker?
Yes.
Yes.
I beat you to it, mate. But yeah, I did feel as though Ghost Rider's analysis, I was really worried they were just speeding through it just because they already revealed Johnny Blades and all this. I was like, oh wow, they're just speeding through it, naming all these abilities. But it was until I realised, oh, they're naming like some of the small feats he's done, then they're getting onto the Seraphos stuff. And once again, the editing for Ghost Rider's analysis is, I would say the editing here is even better than the previous episode. And to be fair, like Death Battle's editing for the analysis section are still so much, like they are really getting good. And I think it just goes to show when you don't have to worry about animating Wiz and Boomstick, you can just focus on being creative with the editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's also just comic book episodes in general. Like, they do all kinds of stuff with the panels.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was mostly Galaxy Video Max doing this one.
I mean, we've said this completely multiple times. Their editing improves every single episode we've gotten since they went independent.
Yeah, because I actually went back to watch because this is something I've been kind of thinking about doing a future video on. I've been going back to watch some newer episodes of another versus show, Cartoon Fight Club, another series I used to be really into. Their editing's kind of stayed the same, which is not bad. But when you compare it to like how Death Battle is edited, you can tell one is putting more effort into the editing than the other. Because going through an analysis of just putting things on the screen moving and then just, you know, text on the side can be a bit dry to do. Like, there's so many reactions I saw in some old videos. People are having to pause the video and having to read a lot of the things. So I feel as though highlighting certain things and as well as having a bit of animation on screen does actually help with that. Like, you know, it makes the video not boring to listen to.
Yeah.
I'm also really happy they acknowledge this, like, you know, verbally instead of just having it in a text box. Like, they acknowledge that the pence there, you know, while one of Ghost Rider's most powerful abilities, there's been occasions where it hasn't fully worked on, like, other characters, because one of my complaints was that they focused a lot of Ghost Rider's victory on the last episode, was just this penance there. Like, that was the ultimate win con, which really wasn't in that episode. Like it was the killing blow, but that's not the only thing Ghost Rider could have used there. And they kind of said, oh yeah, but this doesn't, in like a text box, they're like, oh yeah, but this has also not worked on other weaker characters. I'm just like, did you only put that in a text box because you were worried this might have ruined your explanation? But I was really glad they were like, but you know, this move hasn't worked on the Punisher, but then it has also worked on another occasion, so it's kind of iffy. Because the Punisher is
say, like,
inconsistent in the comic books, like.
I do
So it's a
prefer
comic book
how they
thing.
Yeah,
I
guess
do
so.
prefer how they talked about the penance there last time because of the joke that sticks out. Like, Ghost Rider's not mad; he's just really disappointed.
I thought you were about to go into the other thing. With fantastic footage from both Mr. Bean and White Chicks.
But yeah, I can agree with that because, I mean, going back, you know, Marvel Comics, looking at the penance stare and any sort of Ghost Rider stares, it's inconsistent. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, like, there's actually characters which I'm feeling like, how the f does that not work? Wolverine's resisted it, Deadpool at one point managed to resist it, Iron Man managed to resist it, and Punisher, like, as much as, like, those other characters you can make arguments for, Punisher should not have been able to resist it the first ever time it was used on him. Like Punisher, you have a lot of sin.
And then there's someone like Thanos who just gets off on it.
Yeah, it's weird, like, but that's like his ultimate technique, and yet it's sometimes. But I also like the fact they've referenced the fact that Penance does more than just, you know, hurt you. It also, like, hey, you can see into the future, it can do this, it can do this. It's like, okay, they're naming enough more stuff that the Penance can do, because they didn't really go into more things about it, because one of the things I kind of thought they could have done for Lobo was like, oh, Ghost Rider Penance might not work the first time, but he could at least learn about Lobo's weaknesses through the Penance. It's like, hey, that would have made a strong argument.
There's a chance that actually might have even happened in the animation, because there was even that, like, fake out Penance stare at the beginning.
That might be a bit of a stretch, but I see what you're going with.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
it was a thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a good. I mean, we're not Death Battle. We're just talking about something we love.
Yeah, overall though, editing-wise for Ghost Rider and even character analysis, I'd say it was on par. Well, the editing was not on par with, you know, the previous Ghost Rider episode, but I felt as though they did do him, like, his editing justice. Like, there's a lot of funny visual gags as well that I liked. I liked in the text box when it was described, it said "possible angel?" ? It's like, yeah, it's kind
Also,
of...
like, when they were like... Also, when they were talking about Zerathos fighting Mephisto, place your bets!
Yeah. It's like, I can imagine somebody at the bar, I bet 200 million on Mephisto!
They
should have used that footage of Mr. Krabs.
Mate's just like, my money's on... Mate's just like, my money's on the one that's red.
I also...
Pretty much.
I like the fact as well, they kind of call that... While Mephisto is a really overpowered character, I also like the fact they acknowledge, though, he is the punching bag for a lot of, like, the Avengers and other characters, because he really is, because all he really has going for him is that he's a manipulator. Like, he has to manipulate things to be as powerful as he is, because... Hey,
Oh, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, one thing about when they were talking about Mephisto, they got a laugh at me was when Boomstick said, "Bet you wish you had one more day to think that over."
Oh god, I'm surprised they referenced that.
Yeah, no, I caught that immediately.
Same. I was like, oh wow, that's a. I wonder how many people actually got that joke, because I was even surprised Mate got that joke. I was like, he's not a comic book nut. How does he know that?
I only really know of that because it's rather infamous, and I know people brought it up in the build-up to Far From Home. Wait, no, not Far From Home. No Way Home.
Fair enough. That's what I was surprised by. When I was watching Mate's reaction, and he was like that, I was like, oh the fuck god, did he get a comic book reference? Who are you? What have you done
No
with
wonder.
the real Mate?
No wonder they called it Spider-Man Far From Home. He was far from home dealing with Mephisto somehow.
Oh no, Sean. Sean, I won't explain to you this video, but just look up One More Day Spider-Man story, and you're going to be like, Marvel, what were you smoking? And I would usually say, give it to me, but no, just burn it in a warehouse. Actually, don't do that because you'll ruin the hemisphere.
Maybe the same thing they were with a line of Marvel zombies.
It was really dumb what they did with Spider-Man's story, but back onto this though. Overall, I really enjoyed Ghost Rider's analysis. But the character...
Same, and it makes me want him to... Well, at least I'm more curious as to what they'll do with him in the MCU. Like there's potential for like a story about a man figuratively and literally wrestling with his own inner demons.
I will say that I will say this this is a hot take on my part. I personally got into Ghost Rider, like watching the original Nick Cage Ghost Rider movie, because I thought it was a horror movie, and then my father's like, "Oh yeah, that's Ghost Rider." Wait, what?
Yeah, do you know what?
And if you know my father's a minister at a church. So if my father knows it, something's up.
I mean, he's technically an angel? Question mark.
Question mark. It's just like, oh, Johnny, you're here again. Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. What did you do now? I accidentally stared at a lady. Why? I got bored. 20 laps around the church on your motorcycle. Thank you, Father.
Yeah, so overall though, yeah, it was a really good analysis on the end. Now, Spawn was the character most people were curious. How are they going to do him justice, and are we ready to learn all the stuff that Spawn can do? And you know what, before we get into that though, Sean, mate, I have to call you guys out that you don't listen to me when it comes to Lads Discuss Death Battle. Because I watched both.
And there it is.
I watched both your reactions, and you guys were like, wow, Spawn could do all this? I did not know that. I'm like, motherfuckers, I was literally stating all these in the previous Lads Discuss.
I also watched Robust Cast afterwards, and Richard didn't bring up half the that you did.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Richard really didn't help.
No, he didn't.
I'm like, wait, which one are you? So it's just like, wait, which one of you guys is telling the truth? What can and can he not do?
I literally stated all this. I showed it on screen. I got comic panels. I was like, these guys did not listen to me. I am kind of pissed.
You know, I still find it funny that I wish it
Well,
was
I
in the
drink.
episode.
Sean, what's your excuse?
But why?
I had a cat destroy.
Why were you drinking
half
when
my
we're recording? Oh my
I was
God.
also gonna say, like, one thing I wish that was in Spawn's preview that wasn't in his analysis, unless I missed it again. The mighty Spawn Mower.
No,
Hey, yeah, that wasn't in the actual episode. That was just in the preview.
Damn it.
It's just like the Cole Scream all over again. We'll do it in the preview, but not in the episode.
I wanted
Curse
Spawn Mower.
you!
Spawn Mower. Hashtag justice for Spawn Mower.
Yeah, so, but speaking of Spawn though, I do kind of like the gag that they kind of do explaining, like, Spawn's kind of like, how he was manipulated into becoming a Hellspawn, where it was like, they kind of made a joke about like, oh, he was given a deal to see his wife one more time, but he was a zombie and she was remarried and now he's depressed. It's like, yeah, that's... They didn't really go into that with the previous Death Battle, but it was like, yes, I think compared to Ghost Rider, Spawn got done more dirty, because technically, the demon held up his end of the deal. It's just like, well, there you are, you've seen your wife now. Get back into hell.
I mean, technically for Ghost Rider, his demon held up the his end of the bargain. He cured Crash's cancer. Didn't say anything about him dying in a stunt gone wrong.
Yeah, but in some stories, it turns out Mephisto did rig it so his father would die. You know, Mephisto's a jokester. Well, not a jokester. He's more like a trickster and manipulator. Like, he's that sort of person where he'll say, like, alright then, if you win this arm wrestle, then I'll give you money. And then he gets someone to tickle your nose with a feather. He's like, well, I technically won. It's like, but you cheated.
The lesson learned is, if you make a deal with a demon, you're begging to get monkey pawed.
Yeah, like in Spawn's case,
and that was my point exactly, mate. My point exactly.
Yeah. But you know, my mini rant about the lads not listening to their little Billy. Wait, that just sounds wrong.
God damn it, Bill.
Yeah, that wasn't even done for a joke.
Timeout corner. Go into timeout corner and think about what you've done.
Mate, I was probably in the timeout corner while I was explaining all the Spawn stuff. I generally feel as though I was like Cable and you guys were like Deadpool, just playing with things in the background, not listening to me.
Timeout corner. Think about what you've done.
I'm not going to think about what I did. But, anyway, just crap.
Whoever does.
Yeah, it's true. But I really like the fact that they didn't oversell Spawn's edginess, because don't get me wrong, Spawn's a badass. But most people kind of have a first look at him and just say he's an edgy bitch, but he's an edgy bitch with flavour to him. I feel as though many people just kind of see him as that epic demon guy with like the swears and the badass like fighting, the brutality, but they're actually going deep about his character. That he's kind of more than just a Hellspawn and an edgy character from the 80s. Yeah, like
90s.
Yeah, was it the 90s? I swear Spawn came out in the 80s.
They said 90s was like a quote, but I only think he's dumb as hell because of that whole Angela staff bit. Like, he just pushed the button. Oh look, he died.
Yeah.
Turns out he didn't.
Yeah, Spawn.
Why? How? So anyway.
Yeah, Spawn. Yeah, because there's been a few stories of Spawn that added a bit of comedy to his character. Like, you know, one demon tried to cut his head off, and Spawn just like tapped him on the shoulder, punched him in the face, and just put his head back on. Because it's like, yeah, Spawn can have a bit of comedy as well. It's not just all. It's not like the Boys comic book where every panel someone was being exploded, torn apart, and stuff like that. I mean, hell, the demon that recruits him is a clown. It's like Spawn can have a bit of humor
Violator.
Too. Yeah.
Violator.
Yeah, he lives up to his name on occasions. And you know, I know people don't like the Spawn film, but I absolutely love to see when he's freaking a cheerleader chanting Spawn. I don't know why, that just lives rent free in my head.
You know what? You know what design I thought was kind of dumb in Spawn's analysis? I always say kind of dumb. It was anti-Spawn.
To be honest,
I did not know that was a thing, and I wish that I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I mean, I never really hated anti-Spawn's design, but when you look at all the other designs of Spawn, it's like, yeah, this one's kind of the weakest. But yeah, like, overall though, I really like how they did his character, and you know, they didn't just like speed through like some of his cool quotes and stuff like that. It's just like, he's a badass that does this and that. It's like, but also, there was even things I didn't even know about Spawn. Like, keep in mind, Spawn's been a character for years, and I am a big comic nut, but I also have a life. Sometimes when a new comic book comes out of Spawn, there might be a new game or movie coming out. That star thing with Angela, I did not know about. But I knew he has survived other interpretations where they tried to erase him from reality, and he just pretty much just said no. But I never knew there was actually at one point he did get erased, and he just came back. I was like, when the hell that happened?
I think another thing that I enjoyed, specifically more Spawn, how they went more in detail to Letha, in comparison to what, I mean, previous analysis. Granted, as I said, we talked about it season 1. You know, learning how Letha's not what we originally thought it was.
Yeah, and it was also kind of interesting how they, because one of the things I was kind of wondering if they'll even bring up was, technically Spawn does have a limit to how much, you know, of his demonic plasma he can use, but in many of the comic books, they rarely ever bring up that ever being, like, an issue. Hell, even in the original...
A problem?
Yeah, like, there's never been an occasion where that's been a problem. Even in the original stories, he was told, oh, if you use too much of this, you'll die. But there's never been
Then it turns out... Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but eventually we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, but in most of the stories during the first original runs, it's never been a problem. And then I'm not sure if they just acknowledge that, oh yeah, that's never actually been a problem. So they're like, how about we just have it so if he goes to hell, he just has infinite plasma. It's just like, yeah, sure, we'll do that. It's like, oh, okay then. And yet, there was even abilities that even I didn't know that he had. Like, you know, when he became like a reality warper, I only thought that was with his divine spawn. Because, well, he becomes God in that. Like, you know, he's peaked. But it turns out, hell, even when he's in hell, he becomes the reality warping demon. Like, so, it's like the whole Sun Wukong, like, immortality thing. It's like, wait, you're already immortal. How can you become more immortal?
Comic books, that's how.
Comic book bullcrap.
Yeah. When they did show the god of Spawn's universe, though, I was hoping Boomstick would have like made a callback to when he fought, you know, Spawn's god looked like his nana. He's like, am I a demigod?
Nana, was that you? You didn't tell me you were God.
I mean, he became a speed god in Flash vs. Sonic.
Yeah, that's true.
Gosh.
But yeah, in terms of like, you know, Spawn, did they do his character justice compared to the previous episode? Yes, they actually went in more depth. I like the fact they didn't just sell him off as an edgy anti-hero. They showed, you know, after he defeated God Insane, there was a, you know, dilemma, and, you know, all the things he did, like, he could just become a god and make things, you know, perfect, but he just know he would always be fighting that godhood side of him, and he'll always be in, like, an eternal battle between the other divine creatures. So,
Also, because they wouldn't be able to write more comics.
that is
Exactly.
that is the meta reason, let's be real. It's kind of like whenever they bring
I'm not joking. That's. I remember hearing Todd McFarlane was asked about the whole like rewrite the universe thing. He didn't know how to finish it, so he kind of just went. F it.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about Todd McFarlane after we talk about the fight, because there's some things regarding him with this episode. But
Oh, heck yeah, there is.
yeah, we're at the half an hour mark though, so I suppose we should actually get onto the fight. Unless you guys have any final says of this bit.
That pun was dumb at the start of Spawn's analysis.
Oh, gosh.
I like my joke of when they brought it up as just like, yeah, this is what he does at the barrel of a gun. And I just go, oh, so he's American.
Oh no, he lives in New York.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, how, do you know how bad New York it can be? I've never been there, but I know how it is.
Well, now they got Spawn there, so things will get better. Oh wait, no, most of humanity died when he became Spawn.
Womp, womp, womp.
So, the fight itself, though? As much as I like to say Ghost Rider versus Lobo was, you know, my all-time favourite for a while, and I want to try and say the animation was still better, no, I can't really say. This episode...
Yeah, the animation was so much better.
Yeah.
I can't argue with it.
You know what's kind of funny about this, Bill?
What?
So, we didn't bring it up earlier, but Ghost Rider was the 25th Marvel character. Now he's the 50th. And once again, this is Zach animating a Ghost Rider episode.
It'll come full circle.
Yeah,
Watch,
I
watch.
was gonna say, 75.
When we get the... Go ahead.
Yeah, 75. We're gonna get Ghost Rider versus Scorpion, and we already know Scorpion is screwed.
Yeah. It's sad to say. I mean, they'll probably treat his character better than 1 Minute Melee did. Yeah, I said it. 1 Minute Melee do the characters dirty.
Damn.
It's true.
Roast.
It's true.
So dirty that the show died.
Ooh,
Oh,
damn, mate.
He they got roasted harder than when Spawn got his face roasted by Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Do you know? Okay, so first of all, the episode started off with Ghost Rider doing the motorcycle slide.
Yep.
They're sneaking a bit of that Akira in there.
And also, bringing up Spawn sitting on top of the steeple. Man, that makes me think of Mortal Kombat. I wonder why.
Well, I mean, that's actually been like a Spawn thing. It's just a Mortal Kombat referenced it before Death Battle did. Now, to talk about the voice acting, one, I believe they brought back the voice actor for Ghost Rider from the previous episode.
That is correct. Yep. This is Stephen Kelly once again.
Yeah, and we actually, because the previous Spawn episode, they just used Keith David's voice, which, don't get me wrong, Keith David is a man that you wanted to voice in Death Battle. Let's be real, though, they probably couldn't afford him.
Yeah, from when?
But the voice they did get for Spawn, like, okay, is he on Keith David's level? No, but, you know, that's a man that's hard to replicate. But, you know what? They did a fine, good job capturing the angst of, like, Spawn, as well as his, like, cold delivery with, like, his dialogue.
Man, who'd have thought one of the Pride Troopers would make a good Hellspawn?
That's a reference.
Yeah, Spawn sounded phenomenal.
Yeah. I remember being in the general chat after the episode. We praised Spawn's VA. He killed it.
Yeah, like I can't really say like anything that hasn't already been said by reactors and reviewers alike. But if you really want,
would you say?
Okay, go ahead.
Would you say his performance was top?
Oh, mate.
I don't get it.
That was just bad.
No wonder I didn't get it. It was bad.
Yeah. We'll tell you.
If you hear me groaning and I'm the punny guy, that's bad.
Yeah, I'm the punny guy as well. Like mate, you managed to make two punny people cringe.
I think there's something I brought up. Like when in one of the shots before Spawn jumps down, you see on the side of the building, like one of the windows burst open, and I was just originally thinking, at the time, since they're fighting in New York, did they make an homage Easter egg to Spider-Man versus Batman?
Oh yeah, I saw someone else bring that up.
I'm just rewinding
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
see that.
Like, it's a hard detail to miss, but it's when the lightning strikes, you gotta look closely at the buildings behind Spawn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like a small detail and you'll miss it.
Yeah, you see where it is.
Yeah. To be fair, this background they have used in previous Death Battles before, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but that's such an old and good episode to call back. An unexpected one, too.
Wait, does this mean, if this was, because Spawn and Batman are canonically friends, so is Spawn just watching Batman being murdered? He's just like, he could take him.
That's what we were joking about. Like, hey, the reason Spawn's here is because he's looking for Batman.
Wow. And then Ghost Rider's like, I won't let you save your friend. I just picture like after the episode, when Spawn, spoilers ahead, Spawn 1, he returns back, he's like,
ow! Oh no, I've been spoiled.
He returns to the battlefield, he's like, okay, Batman, I'm here to... just see his torso.
I just imagine, somebody going, sorry, bud. This billionaire. I was gonna say sorry. This billionaire suit of armor decided to say bye bye to him by making him very crispy.
But yeah, back to the actual fight though. I'm not sure if you guys kind of got this, but I love the fact they referenced the timer because there was an old Game Boy Advance Spawn game I used to play religiously. Edgy bitch phase, and I wanted a Spawn video game, and there wasn't that many games. Most of the time, he just appeared in other games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually like the fact because it's similar to like the Sonic or Mario levels. A lot of the Spawn levels, there was like a time limit, so you had to get through the level as quick as you could. So the fact they use that as like, oh, this is how much time he has before he uses up all his like plasma. I was like, okay, that's actually, it's one of those like. If you get it, you get it.
That's a thing in the comics, isn't it?
I think they have shown it a few times, but in newer ones, no.
I mean, as I said, it was a great detail, and then I loved, I mean, spoiler to ahead, but when he goes into hell itself, that spawn just goes infinite.
Yeah, but I mean, we're about to get to like the
no,
midway
form.
point.
Also, there was like one shot in there, like, oh look, it's the Spawn axe. Soul Calibur Bill is gonna be happy.
Yeah, yeah, the story about me discovering Spawn is still comical. My uncle's probably still watching, angry.
I can imagine your uncle going, Bill, he's from his own series.
But yeah, so when the fight actually takes place in hell, because let's be real, these two characters, it was going to go to hell, literally. And
I mean,
It's a hell of a good time.
we all predicted it. It's like, if this doesn't go to hell, 0 out of 10 episode.
yeah, and
It just sucks.
go ahead.
It just sucks again because they cut out the line that Spawn says, even though it's a really good one.
It is
Yes,
a
it's like, curse you, YouTube, age restrictions.
Yeah, this is where I wanted to kind of do the mini rant, because me and many others have said this. It really is restricting to a lot. Like, people, do you ever wonder why my videos suddenly started getting censored? Because it turns out if I swear too much, my videos don't get recommended as often. And you kind of notice that with certain videos. Like, one of my Power World videos is at like 1k views. Suddenly, an episode where me and Sean are swearing a lot, only at 16 views. Now, of course, some people have those videos that don't do well enough, but it's one of those cases where if you just drop, like, a swear word, YouTube just restricts you. But here's the thing. Why does VizzyPop videos get, like, millions of views, and yet her videos, she drops, like, 50 times? The obvious answer is because she's more popular.
I'm sorry, YouTube.
Excuse me.
Fix your dumb crap.
Yeah, like, look, I understand, like, YouTube wants to be more advertiser friendly, it makes sense. But I feel as though there shouldn't be that much restrictions in terms of swears. Like, obviously, if you're spewing racial slurs and it's directed, like, hateful and everything like that, yeah, by all means, shut those videos down. Or age restrict them. Maybe shutting them down might be a bit extreme. But if you have a character who's as brutal as, like, Spawn and Ghost Rider, they should be allowed to drop a motherfucker.
I mean, I'm gonna say this, and we discussed it even before recording. Spawn would say something like that.
He has as well. He's
Also,
actually
it's just a
said-
nod to Keith David.
Yeah.
Yes.
And no, Spawn has actually said "Welcome to Hell, motherfucker." And I do apologise in advance, people, because we've said that so many times in this one section, and all you're going to be hearing is a duck sound.
Quack.
But yeah, mini rant aside, YouTube, you need to, because this is one of the reasons why a lot of people just aren't interested in being independent on YouTube anymore, because they're so restricted on indie content creators, unless you're Mr. Beast, who's freaking getting people's legs broken in his own official show. I'm not even kidding, people. In his Squid Game series, someone actually broke their leg. Look it up.
Well, after the whole Logan Paul Suicide Forest thing, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
They have a lot of bias for bigger creators. Like, if you're in the 30 million views, like, I guarantee if this Death Battle came out when Death Battle has, like, I don't know, 200 million subscribers, they wouldn't age restrict their video for the mother effer comments. Because how often did, like, other content creators swear so much and they got millions of views? But, mini rant aside, like, that's not a critique on the episode itself. Death Battle would just kind of put against the wall there and just had to cut out something to keep the video going. But,
I also have something I want to add to that, but end it off with a joke.
Alright, go ahead, and then we'll finish talking about this episode.
So people have pointed out that, this episode gets age restricted, but something like, say, Omni-Man versus Homelander doesn't, in which Omni-Man pulls out Homelander's heart, makes him eat it, and then crushes his head.
Yeah, I think even
Like,
Z-Dog made a
That's
meme.
fine, but this isn't. So
like-
basically, YouTube is run by Sheila Broflovsky from South Park.
Oh.
Violence is okay as long as people don't say any naughty words.
Yeah.
Have you not learned from past death battles? I mean, again, I'm going back to Terminator. Like, remember that clip they used from Terminator RoboCop?
Yeah, like,
Jeez.
yeah, but back to the more positive side of this episode. I feel like the hell fight is where the dialogue shined. Yes, one thing did get censored, but the hard-hitting line has to be when Spawn sees the Seraphos come out, and he's like, "I'll be damned," and Ghost Rider's just like, "Yes, you will be." It's like that was a metal line.
and then the following line with the change. Get over here! Huh, I wonder if I heard that before.
Yeah, I do like the fact they did reference that, because I think one of Ghost Rider's inspirations, one of Spawn's inspirations was Ghost Rider, which, yeah, it makes sense. He's a flaming head skull, he wields a chain, so there was some inspiration taken.
Also, just because, why not reference Scorpion?
Yeah, I mean, he's a badass character, why not? And I also, Ghost Rider's line when he's like, "The holy investment upon you cannot hide your sins," and Spawn just goes, "God forbid." Like, even though you can't see his pupils, you can imagine he did an eye roll, just like, ugh, I haven't heard that before.
I don't know why that got a chuckle out of me, but it did when I first heard it.
Yeah, because again, Spawn has a bit of sense of humor. Like, he's not just edgy, "I'm gonna tear you apart and enjoy it." He's like, no, he'll throw in a bit of humor now and then. And also,
it's a case of, like, this dialogue is so 90s, but it's not, like, cringe-worthy 90s.
No.
Yeah.
Which I like. And another small detail.
Yeah, no one's going like, "Whoa, that was totally radical, man."
Oh god, can you imagine?
Oh no. Oh my gosh, hipster Spawn. Oh no.
Oh god, Spawn just
Yeah,
kills...
let's not.
Oh god, can you imagine like Spawn kills Ghost Rider and he just goes, "Well, that just happened." Just a laugh track appears. Oh.
No, even worse, he gets voiced by Urkel going, "Did I do that?"
Oh
the
no.
The laugh track will just play after he squashes the skull.
Why do I feel like that's gonna be a meme in the future of this video?
Oh.
Someone edit that.
Oh, like that, just a Urkel death battle meme.
Yeah, so the other thing I also liked about this episode, this fight has to be, this is a small detail I never saw any reactors point out. I mean, to be fair, it took me a second time watching it. By the way, me and Bernie watched this together, and this was our first introduction to Spawn, and she liked it. Yeah, I loved the more they clashed with each other when Spawn was his divine form and Ghost Rider was in his Zeraphos form. Every time one was getting the upper hand, either heaven would be overtaken or hell would be overtaken in the background.
Well, yeah, that was
right.
neat.
That was a
Yeah,
cool
the setting was
detail.
really good for the. Yeah, like this, the fight for heaven and hell was with the clashing. I will agree that you're like, man, this is getting really good, and oh, one gets ahead. Oh, hell's getting more. Oh, heaven's getting more.
Yeah, and then the bit that shocked a lot of people was the moment when Ghost Rider did his penance there, which I was really worried they were going to do like a really dragged out fake out, but this was actually a genuine moment. I was like, oh, Spawn's about to lose, and then suddenly the chains go through Ghost Rider and Spawn grabs his head, and this is my favourite line from him as well. Like, "I eat sins for breakfast. Have a taste of your own goddamn medicine." I was like, that is the most Spawn line I've ever heard. And the animation when he's talking to him as well was just great. Like, the close-up on his face as he stares into Ghost Rider's face.
I still have to say that before he did that, even when Ghost Rider ripped the angel wings off Divine Spawn, ow!
Yeah, I generally thought that's it. Spawn just lost his divine form, so he's done. Like, that is his peak form.
Yeah, also, there's that bit when Ghost Rider has him by the neck and is doing the whole, "Earl Simmons, your sins are innumerable!" Like, that whole thing he did with Lobo.
Yeah, that's got to be a reference.
Well, that's
Yeah,
actually...
the fact that you can actually see, like, Spawn trying to, like, close his eyes and look away.
Yeah.
Like, damn, the details.
Yeah, and yeah, to be fair though, people say that was a reference to Ghost Rider versus Lobo, but that's actually one of his like catchphrases in like the comic books when he does that penance there. When he fights like a major big villain like Mephisto, he always goes like, "Your sins are innumerable. I'm here to wreak vengeance on your soul." Like vengeance on your soul. That's like Ghost Rider's catchphrase. You know, it's like
he's the spirit of. He's the spirit.
Go ahead.
He's the spirit of vengeance. What do you expect?
Yeah, like that's his catchphrase. They even show it in the analysis. And I was thinking to myself, okay, it feels as though they might still be setting up a fake out, but I like the fact, this is something I never even considered when we were predicting this. Yeah, Ghost Rider and Zerathos being hit with the penance stare. Yeah, that actually would probably work on Ghost Rider. It's happened in the past. I just never considered it. Like, oh yeah, feeling the sins of everyone you've given the penance stare to. Like, oh god, and
ouch.
But also, I like the fact they showed like all the major characters he's done it to, including at one point, maybe it's just some random guy, but I swear it looks like James Jonah Jameson's being hit with a penance stare. I was like, really, James? Unless someone can confirm that's not James, but I'm gonna put it on screen. That mustache man does look like James Jonah Jameson.
I need pictures of Spider-Man. Dang it!
Yeah, but
I'm taking a look. I'm taking a look at it slow down right now.
Yeah, but I have to ask this: what the hell did James do for Ghost Rider to come after you? Like Doctor Doom, he's enslaved an entire country. Mephisto, what hasn't he done? Heck, even the Punisher. I'm like, what has James done? He's just a news reporter. He's not someone who deserves to feel the weight of their sins.
Didn't he like create Scorpion?
I mean, that's...
Or like have something to do with like the Scorpion's origin?
He invested in it, but again, if that's enough for... That's like, I don't know, us giving money to like a corporation. Oh, I'm gonna buy this suite off this company. Hey, guess what? This
Maybe
company
it was one of those...
has slaves. It's
Also,
like,
isn't lying a sin and he lies about Spider-Man all the time?
I don't think he lies about Spider-Man. It's more so he doesn't understand Spider-Man. He just thinks he's a bad vigilante. But yeah, I absolutely just love this death. It's not brutal in terms of like gory, being torn in half sort of death. But Ghost Rider's yelp as he's screaming, as he's feeling like, you know, all the sins that he's probably committed for centuries just thrust upon him. It's like, yeah, that's like mental damage. What's that Asian YouTuber? Emotional damage. That one. That's the vibe I kind of got from it.
Yeah, as I said, when that happened, I did a volume warning on my video, and
yeah.
People understand why. I'm sorry, Billy. I broke your eardrums.
Yeah, I did not heed the warning because I was listening to his reaction while walking to work instead of watching it. Did not see the text warning.
I'm sorry.
It happened again.
The only thing I wish they could have done, even though it's probably hard for Zach to do because he would have had to get his original footage for it, was add like the Lobo one in there.
I feel as though that one is not too... for a reference, yeah, I suppose that's fair, but... I feel
Yeah,
as though
for a
that
reference. For a reference.
Yeah, just for a reference.
Yeah. But yeah, like... Overall, like, that death one, it's not gory brutal. It was brutal in its own way, and it was very, like... You know... How people said, like, well, the death battle for Ghost Rider has to end in a penance stare if he wins. This one's like, well, it can also end in a penance stare because Spawn could just... Because I said that in the prediction... Like, Spawn can
Oh,
actually
hey,
replicate...
I can do that too.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Exactly.
I said that in the previous episode, like, Spawn can actually replicate that and just use it on Ghost Rider, but we kind of came to the conclusion, would that actually work? And it's like, maybe, but maybe Ghost Rider could resist it. Death Battle just went like, no, he wouldn't, so it's like, oh, there you are.
Yeah, that was the thing that threw me off, because I remember, like, looking up, like, respect threads, and it's been brought up, like, oh yeah, this Ghost Rider resisted a penance test, so I was like, oh, okay, well...
Well, that thread probably was talking about maybe either Alexandra or Rami, because they're like the two heaviest hitting Ghost Riders.
Yeah,
this
because
one was specifically Johnny.
I mean, they brought up in the post analysis that, you know, that other Ghost Riders has like gotten Johnny out of, or Zerathos out of Johnny with the penance there. So I think that's what.
Yeah.
I think that's what was being taken.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was the other thing as well. Not only was he being hit by the Penance Stare, you saw Spawn just rip Zerathos out of him. And that was the one I was like, okay then, I could buy Zerathos and Ghost Rider being hit with the Penance Stare. How did Zerathos get removed from Johnny is the question, because, you know, without the Ghost Rider, Johnny's just a normal man.
Exorcism.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but... And now... And their explanation I thought was actually quite valid, because one of the key things I was like, okay, like we all agreed Zerathos is probably more physically powerful, but Spawn is just, you know, better fighter, better arsenal, you know, more reality manipulation.
And I'm pretty safe to say this. Sean said it best in his video. Spawn still beats Kratos.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill, will you finally admit it?
I'm going to say no just to piss you off.
Well, guess what, folks? Our next Last debate is Kratos versus Spawn. It is now set in motion.
I'm rooting for Kratos on that one.
Right, but one of the things I was kind of wondering though, like, because from all the things I know of Ghost Rider, I was really thinking, while Spawn has the reality powers though, Ghost Rider has resisted these, hasn't he? And it turns out, yes, he's just never resisted soul manipulation. It's like, the one thing that Spawn one of the first major things Spawn learned how to do when he gained his, like, more powerful forms. It's like, yeah, that would about do
How
it.
is this? This is pretty much a parallel to how Ghost Rider beat Lobo. Let's be honest with ourselves.
I mean, it's one of those things. I think most everybody was on the side of definitely, or power-wise, people were like, Ghost Rider is gonna take it in power. Like Marvel's universe is way bigger than Spawn's universe. But the versatility and the versatility of Spawn was way too much.
Yeah. Plus, in a way, Mephisto kind of screwed over Johnny again, because, you know, how Ghost Rider's power works is their souls get manipulated into being conjoined. So it's like, and we've seen in previous comics that there have been times when Ghost Rider's soul has been manipulated. Hell, Doctor Strange has even done it on multiple occasions when trying to help Johnny when he goes a bit too evil with his demonic form.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, and someone like Spawn who's mastered this sort of ability, it would actually make sense that... Because that's the one thing about Ghost Rider, he's practically invulnerable unless you have holy weapons. But if you remove the Ghost Rider, then Johnny's just a man. And Zerathos is just, well, a spirit with no host. So it's like, Zerathos is powerful, but he needs a host. Ghost Rider or Johnny's not strong, he needs Zerathos. So it's like, yeah, both can't exist without the other.
Yeah. I mean, I will agree. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
I'm just gonna mention this in the live act in the analysis again. That live action Spawn on a talk show. What the fuck was that even for?
Same. I was like, where the hell was that from?
Okay, I'm not the only one who was thinking that. Thank you.
Because I was like, I'm not gonna act like I'm the biggest Spawn fanboy, and I've seen everything regarding like Spawn. But even that one, I was like, okay, even my posters I would have at some point have seen something like this. And unless I was on a kids show as well, and I'm like, what kind of children are being shown this?
You?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
True.
I did grow up with Berserk. Maybe my mum should have looked at the age rating for that DVD. To be fair, I grew up just fine. I will get in you. Let me in your hole. Right?
So anyway,
Continue.
Right, my final say on this episode. I think it was a really fantastic episode. I'd say I like it slightly more than Kratos versus Azura, but it's only due to the fact that I kind of grew up with these characters a lot more than Azura and Kratos, so it's like there is a bit more bias leaning towards it.
And that's why I prefer Kratos versus Azura over this one, purely for personal bias.
Yeah, but if I really had to say, like, which...
Fair.
Both episodes are kind of 10 out of 10. It's just, this one has, you know, childhood bias.
Before we forget, because we forgot this last time, the soundtrack.
Oh gosh, Hell's Angels was so good. And they get Tyson Yin to come in.
That was something I never thought I'd ever hear, but I mean, they managed to get the singer for Devil May Cry for a previous episode, so at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if they got, I don't know, they've resurrected Johnny Cash and they got him to do a musical.
As I said, if you have not listened to the song by itself, go listen to it. It's awesome.
Yeah, do it.
Even the lyrics are hellfire.
Heh.
See, mate, that's how you do a pun.
I give you that was better. That was better, Bill.
What do I win?
The Fuzzy Circle Award.
Yay.
You really want a prize? Give me a prize.
Oh no! Who the hell kicked me? I know I didn't disconnect. I know I got kicked.
No.
I won't lie, I was actually thinking it was your mate. I thought he kicked me like, oh, you think your pun's funny? To the shadow realm.
I've literally not touched my keyboard or mouse. Like,
I can't do that, Billy, so...
That was hilarious.
Right, that's it. Forget the lads discuss Death Battle. We're having an Among Us session right now. One of us is a banned imposter.
It was
I'm down for that.
Steve.
I'm down with that.
Anyway, no.
although I've actually got something with family in like 15 minutes.
Okay. My final say on this episode is that it's a really good episode, and yeah, it was a good time. You guys have any final says?
Nice episode. Really good.
Yeah, I'll just say I like this episode more than the last one. I know someone called me out on this in my reaction because I had a thing about the death. Because I said, oh, I thought it like dragged on a little bit. It might also just be because like I know how like, you know, death battles like tend to go with like how they do like, oh, this is the end of the fight. The moment after Ghost Rider says, upon your soul, I was like, yeah, no, Spawn's won. And then everything happened, so it was like, yeah, no, he's won.
I mean, I'm still of the minority saying I still prefer Ghost Rider Lobo over Ghost Rider Spawn, but that's more personal reasons because Ghost Rider Lobo was my most wanted matchup, so that's personal bias. And,
Yeah.
But I would still say this was a solid episode, even though my boy died. Plot twist, yeah, Ghost Rider's my favorite Marvel character. Shock, shock. That's why they brought me in.
Audible gas.
Ooh. You know, RKO, I thought of an edit for you. Ghost Rider versus Lobo, but with Hell's Angels in the background. Would that actually go well?
Then.
If I knew how to do that crap, I would do it.
But yeah, overall, I think we all agree, fantastic episode.
Definitely.
And I guess this is where we'll have to say goodbye to RKO. Do you have any final says before we remove your guest role privileges?
As I said, it's been a pleasure having me. Thank y'all for inviting me. This has been a grand time.
All right. Now then.
But
I
peace out.
I'm now sending you to Detroit.
No! No, not Detroit! No!